Whenever you eat food, the calories and supplements that you take in are utilized to control your mind, fix separated muscle tissue, and give energy to every one of your cells and organs to work. In any case, when your fundamental energy needs are met, every one of the abundance calories are then changed over to fat. Also, that fat is put away around different spots all through the body, particularly around the stomach, love handles, and hips. While this entire interaction follows the fundamental standards of calories in versus calories out, there are sure food varieties that are bound to prompt the overutilization of calories and in more fat stockpiling. So I need to go more than 9 of the most profoundly swelling food sources that you ought to restrict. To keep a level stomach, and the main food or refreshment I ought to say that is exceptionally swelling is pop. Truth be told, soft drink is a lot more concerning issue than you could suspect. The normal American consumes 270 calories of added sugars consistently. Furthermore, the greater part of these additional calories come from drinking pop. These fluid sugars wind up amounting to very nearly an additional 1,900 calories each week, which is about comparable to how much calories you would consume assuming that you ran 12 to 15 miles. So that will be difficult to consume off, no doubt. Furthermore, the issue with sweet calories is that they're inadequate at fulfilling hunger. Thus they ordinarily wind up going on top of the calories that individuals as of now consume. That is the reason individuals that drink sodas and other sweet refreshments watch out for far more than the people who don't, as shown by 2 orderly surveys. So hence, I suggest that you supplant soft drink with sound refreshments like shimmering water, tea, or espresso. You can likewise add a few fake sugars like stevia, assuming you hunger for that sweet taste. In light of the fact that different examinations show that subbing sweet food sources and beverages with falsely improved other options brings down calorie admission and helps weight reduction, and most human investigations demonstrate that counterfeit sugars are by and large safe when the greatest suggested sum isn't surpassed. So a few bundles of stevia each day ought to be fine. However, don't overdo it, as having a lot of can upgrade your sugar desires as opposed to help them. Next is lager. Believe it or not, the term, the girth, exists for an explanation, since lager is one of those refreshments that is probably going to make you gain abundance pounds. There are various justifications for why brew is probably going to pack on weight. Above all else, liquor is changed over to acetic acid derivation in the body, generally in the liver. Also, as acetic acid derivation enters your blood, fat consuming turns out to be exceptionally stifled all through your whole body. Because of unsaturated fats that you eat are significantly more prone to be put away as muscle to fat ratio, as opposed to being scorched off on top of that. Acetic acid derivation itself can likewise be changed over into fat. One more issue with savoring liquor general is that it's regularly matched with high-fat unhealthy foods like pizza, or late-night McDonald's outings, and the abundance calories from drinking liquor doesn't actually top you off by any stretch of the imagination. As opposed to protein, carbs, and fats, liquor doesn't smother hunger, however rather it might even increment it. For instance, in a new 2019 orderly audit and meta-examination, the analysts inferred that grown-ups don't repay as expected for how much liquor calories they take in by eating less, going against the norm. A generally limited quantity of liquor can prompt an expansion in food utilization. Presently, when you think about cocktails, lager is quite possibly the most probable cocktail to cause fat increase. This is on the grounds that when in doubt of thumb, brew contains 150 calories for every beverage, while wine contains 125 for every glass and hard mixers contain around 100 for each shot. Continuing on, we have croissants. Presently, croissants are interesting in light of the fact that they don't look that terrible calorie-wise. Yet, back in 1995, a gathering of specialists needed to see which food varieties were most satisfying to do that. They assessed 38 food sources isolated into 6 classifications: natural products, pastry kitchen items, snacks, carb-rich food sources, protein-rich food varieties, and breakfast oats. Every one of the food sources was taken care of to gatherings in a piece size of around 240 calories. After that, the researchers took a satiety rating from the members at regular intervals, over an aggregate of 120 minutes. Then, at that point, following 120 minutes, they were allowed to eat however much they needed from a standard scope of food varieties and beverages to assess how satisfying every food was. The researchers determined what they called this a clean reaction bend for each gathering, which they contrast with white bread. White bread was provided us with a clean score of 100, and that really intends that assuming a food scored higher than 100, it would be more satisfying than white bread. Furthermore, assuming that it scored lower, it would less satisfy. At last the outcomes showed that out of the 38 food sources, they assessed croissants were viewed as the most unsatisfying. They scored 47 on the satiety file, making it not exactly a large portion of as satisfying as white bread, which as of now is a low satiety food. What's more, after some time they lose fat. Then again, assuming individuals consume similar number of calories as treats, they will quite often gorge and gain fat. Investigations even show that treat utilization is probably going to fundamentally increment circulatory strain and muscle versus fat. So if you have any desire to get thinner, go for regular desserts like watermelon, all things being equal. Not exclusively will that assist you with controlling your calorie consumption, yet it will likewise leave you feeling more full and you'll wind up drinking a wide range of helpful micronutrients. Another subtle unhealthy food is preparing oil. Presently, don't entirely misunderstand me. Dietary fat is fundamental for well-being, and cooking oils like avocado oil and olive oil offer a wide scope of useful impacts. Yet there is an issue. Cooking oils are the most calorically thick nutrition type accessible while meaningfully affecting satiety. Join that with the way that it's not difficult to utilize much more cooking oil than what's expected to cook food sources, and make them taste extraordinary. Utilizing an excess of oil really is the main way that cooking oils can turn out to be very swelling. For instance, considering that 1 tablespoon of olive oil has 119 calories. Adding 3 of those to your day-to-day dinners implies you'd wind up consuming an additional 357 calories. Presently, this doesn't imply that you need to try not to cook oils, particularly those that are solid, similar to avocado oil and olive oil. However, it implies that it's essential to be cautious with how much oil you utilize. An amazing device that can assist you with this is an oil mister. It can fundamentally diminish how much oil that winds up in your dish. Obviously, there are many prepared to utilize cooking splashes that you can simply purchase at your supermarket. Yet, for the most part they're not ideal since they generally have profoundly handled and unfortunate vegetable oils like canola or rapeseed. Rather, I'd suggest purchasing a different oil mister and afterward adding either avocado oil or olive oil yourself. Then, we have something that goes inseparably with brew, French fries, with a common 5-ounce serving containing around 427 calories. Presently, indeed, peanuts aren't intrinsically awful. As a matter of fact, concentrates on interface nut utilization to a decreased body weight and further develop well-being. Yet, the issue is that with regards to peanut butter, it's extremely simple to eat significantly a greater number of calories than you would assuming you were eating standard peanuts. This is because of the way that transforming peanuts into peanut butter eliminates the biting opposition that entire peanuts have. What's more, many individuals love peanut butter and they like to spread it in a thick layer on top of their toast or on top of cuts of apples. Furthermore, that peanut butter adds significantly more calories to the toast or the apples than you could suspect. Here and there it can even twofold or triple how much calories that you would consume on the off chance that you just stayed with a plain apple or plain toast. One final issue with peanut butter is that most brands are industrially ready, which frequently adds of vegetable oils, sugars, and salt, all of which make the food more delectable, however suppose concealing and higher in calories. What's more, what they found was extremely intriguing. The way of life change that was generally emphatically connected with putting on weight north of a long-term period was expanding the quantity of potato chips eaten. So for what reason were potato chips so emphatically connected with weight gain? Indeed, one explanation is that they're exceptionally high in calories for how much volume they involve in your stomach. 100 grams of potato chips contain, all things considered, a powerful 536 calories. However, that is not all. One more significant variable to note is that tidbits like potato chips are ordinarily matched with sitting in front of the TV or a film, particularly late around evening time. Also, since individuals will generally eat significantly more calories while eating occupied, particularly when they do as such in the evening, it's no big surprise that scientists observed expanding potato chip consumption will in general reason weight gain. So those are the 9 food varieties that you shouldn't really fear. However, you ought to restrict in your eating routine if you have any desire to get slender and keep up with that fit look, obviously. These food sources can be remembered for control, yet be cautious since it's not difficult to get carried away and gain muscle versus fat in the process. That about wraps it up. I really want to believe that you folks partook in the video. Assuming you have, ensure you buy into the channel. And furthermore, to skirt every one of the experimentation that accompanies losing muscle versus fat and pressing on muscle, attempt my multi-week destroying program. It gives a done to you bit by bit arrangement that subtleties precisely the thing you ought to eat and precisely the thing you ought to do at the rec center. Simply 3 days out of each week to get into the best state of your life. With a full activity library, a formula book, and a committed individual mentor included, getting more fit and consuming fat is made simpler than at any other time. Furthermore, that is the reason so many of my clients are losing somewhere around 20 pounds or 5% of their muscle versus fat in just brief time frame. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumb up and share with your friend. Thank you for watching.